love you, do we hate you, why should you care? Cause we're the best damn review team out there. It's time to rate that album.
Hi, and welcome to Rate That Album, the back and forth podcast review with myself, Paul Muad'Dib, who apparently has a speech impediment, and my good, wonderful, fantastic, amazing buddy who puts up with my shit, Joe Fremming. Joe, how are you doing, sir?
Paul, I'm doing great because I got the red, white, and blue running through my veins.
You are American made, sir.
Goddamn right I am.
God damn right you are. You're pulling your stuff on your wrestling bootstraps.
I didn't even know wrestling boots had straps, Paul.
They can, yeah. They got laces. I mean, boy, Joe, I got to admit, we put ourselves in the shitter on this one, didn't we?
Well, you put us in the shitter. I didn't ask this.
I
didn't want to talk about wrestling again. I don't give a shit about wrestling.
Joe,
You're the one who put us into this.
You know what, Joe? I have to say, no, you did, because you have your wheel of shit, and this just let off of that.
This wasn't on my wheel of shit. This is all you, buddy.
Well, no, we're here because of you. I'm blaming you. You did this to us, really. Again, the wheel of shit. I mean, we had to do Rolling Stones, and where do you go from the Rolling Stones' worst album, but Hulk Hogan's worst and only album? That's right. We are doing Hulk Rules, Hulk Hogan's and the Wrestling Bootstrap Band. Joe, let's woo, woo.
It'd be better if we were doing a Ric Flair album, honestly, Paul. Because people like Ric Flair. I like Ric Flair. I assume you like Ric Flair. You know who I don't like? I don't like Hulk Hogan. You know who else doesn't like Hulk Hogan, Paul?
Ric Flair?
Almost everybody who's ever had to deal with Hulk Hogan.
Yeah. So, Joe, woo, Fremming. We're digging into Terry Below It, baby. Oh. We're going to Space Mountain.
Oh, sushi. Oh.
Sushi. Joe, let's talk. We always talk about this. How did you become familiar with Hulk Hogan?
Obviously, I was born in 81, so in the 80s, my memory is like Saturday mornings. It was either repeats or whatever. It was WWF or AWA, I believe. In Minnesota, we had AWA, Vern Gagne's. And I think, probably that was a little bit before our time, I think. Paul, you're the wrestling expert. I just remember watching wrestling, and Hulk Hogan was becoming the big name.
Okay.
I mean, I remember seeing him, and this was back when it was like, you weren't getting top tier versus top tier on the Saturday morning shows. You were getting what they call generic wrestlers fighting the superstars. And it was never a surprise. It was like a Harlem Globetrotters game. I don't remember if I ever saw a generic wrestler win. It probably happened. Otherwise, it'd be pretty boring, I'd imagine.
So I grew up in a household where my dad loved wrestling. Okay. So my dad grew up on wrestling a little bit. So you'd have the Saturday morning cartoons. And then Saturdays, because there wasn't really football and things like that. Like once it hit in the 80s, once it hit about 11:30, 12 o'clock, things would flip over. And, it would be a lot of as you talked about, we had I believe it was the NWA here. Because
AWA, American
Wrestling. Yes, the AWA. Thank you. Yes, yeah, Vern, yeah. And, it was the pits. It was just absolute shit. Because, yeah, it was just a bunch of no-namers. It was a lot of jobbing. There wasn't a whole lot there. And because what was happening was there was two main... so you had the WWWF, and then you had what I think it was the NWA. Those were the two big ones, because the NWA was when Ted Turner bought the NWA. That was like it. That was like, now it's done. And I believe Ted Turner was, before it was WCW, it was something else, and I honestly can't remember what that was, because that's back before your my time even.
Yeah, because the wrestling was broke up into regions, and we were honestly in Minnesota. We were pretty lucky. We had like a lot of great wrestlers come. We had the Gagnes, Ric Flair, Mr. Perfect, the Hennigs.
Yeah,
yeah, we were pretty spoiled, and I don't know if what I watched as a kid was AWA. I'm pretty sure it was WWF by then, by the time I was more cognizant of actually watching it. But yeah. You know, but when it's WWF, that is when Hulk Hogan is running wild on you, brother. And he was the hero. He was the baby face. He was the good guy. You eat your vitamins and say your prayers, brother.
Yeah. So you're exactly right. So what happened was Hogan was with the AWA.
Well, he was with WWF.
Well,
then he goes to AWA. Then he goes back to WWF. He leaves WWF to do Rocky 3.
Well,
and Vince McMahon Sr. fired him.
Correct. Yes. Absolutely. Yeah. Because
why am I taking the lead on this wrestling shit, Paul?
Well,
I don't know anything about it.
No, here's the interesting thing, and here's why you're doing it, because you know actually what's crazy is you know the earlier, like I know about the time that Vince Sr. dropped out. That's where my wrestling knowledge comes into play.
Because Junior bought Vince McMahon. Junior
yes,
buys it, but yeah. So AWA, I just know it just because that's Minnesota.
Exactly,
they gave us a lot of, I mean, you and I grew up in an area in St. Cloud, central Minnesota, where you could probably throw a rock and hit a professional wrestler.
Oh, hell yeah.
I mean, they were just everywhere.
Joe, you and I, and I'm not calling anybody out, we went to school with people that had a backyard wrestling thing going on. Yeah. It was huge up here.
I think Barrett, one of them owned a restaurant nearby. Was it George the Animal Steel? Or was it George the Animal Steel? Yeah.
George the Animal Steel, old. And then again, you and I think both worked at Target, and we'd see Sergeant Slaughter all the time.
Oh, I worked at the mall. I didn't.
That's what I mean, yeah, at the mall.
But Slaughter was, I probably didn't. I probably saw him. I just didn't realize it was him. Because, there's central Minnesota, there's just roly-poly guys left and right. So, by the time I'm seeing Sergeant Slaughter, he's not the built guy from the 80s. It's the 90s, 2000s. He's a big fat guy at that point.
He was, and it was so funny. He'd come in and he would know the people that would recognize him, because he'd kind of smirk and he would walk around sometimes with that hat, the Sergeant Slaughter hat.
Yeah. I mean, our buddy Dan, he was telling me about how he would, because I randomly brought up Mr. Perfect.
Yes.
His buddy had a cabin, and the people up the road was the Hennigs. And he got to ride in a pontoon with Kurt Hennig and his dad.
Oh wow!
His dad was a wrestler too. I forget the old man Hennig, but he's the old school 70s, 60s, 70s wrestler. But we're not here to talk about Central Minnesota's long, rich history with wrestling, Paul. We're here to talk about Hulk Hogan, who was. Let's just face it, he's a real son of a bitch.
He is. So let's talk about this, because you're right. So really, where where most people know Hulk, and this is where it's going to come from, is when he came back in about 1984. And so first of all, everyone talks about like Hulk was pushed as this big whatever. Right away from the start, Hulk Hogan was having problems because the name Hulk. So now there was a lawsuit between Titan Sports, Marvel Comics himself, and Marvel actually owned the trademarks Hulk Hogan, Hulkster, Hulkamania, and Titan Sports agreed to no longer refer to him as the Incredible Hogan because that's what he was going as, or just the Hulk. Like no one just called him Hulk. If you notice, it was the Hulkster, Hulk Hogan, Hulkamania. They couldn't just say, Hulk. If you notice that, a lot of people forget that. But like, if you ever want to go back and pay attention to that, yep. So
we just didn't go by Thunder Lips, his character's name from Rocky 3, or did Stallone own that? I'm
sure Stallone owned that. I mean, Stallone owns everything. You had all that, and then so he came back and he was being pushed as this big, which is crazy because if you look at him now, he wouldn't be that big of a deal in the wrestling world, but back then he was.
Well, it was becoming more cartoonish. Character driven.
Mm-hmm.
If you can watch it wherever. I think even like I forget which took over the WWE app, but you can watch those old because Vince owns all that, so you can watch the old AWA and those like 70s matches. It's pretty much just grappling. It was a more it's not. What comes in the 80s is the bright colors and racist caricatures, and it was just becoming more entertainment driven than the actual art of wrestling.
Yes.
You got Hogan. Yeah, I don't know why Hogan becomes this this like symbol of good guyism. I'm guessing I don't know why he became so famous, Paul. He does not bring. I mean, there's so many other wrestlers that brought more to the table.
There was. So,
fuck, even Roddy Piper, man, he could actually be in movies.
Roddy Piper was fucking amazing. So getting what a lot of this comes from is Vince McMahon, because Vince McMahon has been like just a stranglehold ever since he got a hold of it. And there's been stories over the years about how eccentric and how weird Vince McMahon is. And he would just get these ideas on wrestlers and ones that should have gotten pushes and ones that didn't. A lot of people don't realize this. Roddy Piper never won a belt, never held a championship belt. And yet he was so famous. He never did it. Macho Man almost didn't. So in the 80s, Hulkamania was everywhere. And a lot of it had to do with, as you said, the cartoon, because what was happening behind the scenes was Reagan's America. And which seems weird because wrestling has always been kind of predominantly like Republican and conservative and right wing. But remember, we had the Tipper Gore, that whole deal with the lyrics, and there was a lot of push because now cable and more TV, and it's ruining, and you had this violence. You had these violent people on television, and kids were getting in the fights in schools, and people were threatening to sue, and so it started to move to cartoony to make it more palatable to American families in the 80s. That's why it moved to that more cartoony thing. And I think
it's weird though, because these guys are cutting themselves up pretty bad. Like they were like starting to push the blood a lot. I mean, do you remember seeing the Macho Man Steamboat match?
Yes.
Like
yes.
Ric Flair Steamboat. Like, holy shit! Like that was like. if anything, I think it got more violent.
Well, and that's the interesting thing, because they started to kind of push the lines, but that's because it was almost like a cartoon. You had the cartoon show, you're pushing these things there. It did get violent, but if you notice too, a lot of like the what it was called blading and breaking open and things like that did not happen on the TV. It happened on the pay-per-views, because now you're paying money and you expect more, and so that's where all that was coming from.
Well, Ric Flair was still cutting himself open on those Saturday afternoon matches, man.
But Ric Flair was not in the WWF at the time. He didn't come to the WWF for a while.
I was seeing that, and I was seeing people bleeding in the Saturday afternoon stuff, man. I was like, and my family did not have pay-per-view money. Pay-per-view back then was an insane amount of money.
Well, and again, that may have been like the AWA and the things here. But I'm just saying with the WWF, that was not happening. Right. So, anyways, we're already long here.
I'm not arguing it did happen. I did see people in WWF cutting themselves open. Paul.
Okay. Well, there was, but I think that came later in the late 80s, early 90s, when you started to get to the pre-attitude era. In the areas where you and I were growing up, it wasn't that big of a deal, except the pay-per-views, and then it started to kind of open up. But regardless, point is, Hulk Hogan was fucking everywhere, and he was winning all of his matches, and he was all these things, and basically, take your vitamins, say your prayers. He was revered as this American hero.
He was on Saturday morning cartoon show, Paul.
Yes, absolutely.
Hulk Hogan's rocking
wrestling. Fuck yeah, he was. There was all this. Well, behind the scenes, Hulk Hogan's a fuck. So, and we're not going to find that out, Joe. And I think a lot of people know Hogan, and then he went to the WCW. You got to give him credit. Wrestling became infamous again in 1996 when he joined the NWO, and they started to blur the lines between kayfabe, which is what a wrestling term for what is the fake stuff, and reality. And he was really instrumental in like this whole bringing about the revival. I mean, 2 times, give credit, Hogan his credit is due. 2 times he brought back wrestling from the doldrums. So in the wrestling world, he will always be revered as a god. However, Joe, scandal hits. Sushi, my friend. You tell the Sushi story.
Well, I mean, lots of scandals hit. The steroids first.
We'll get to that. Yep.
But that's way before, because that happens before. Like, so the Gawker thing.
Yep.
This just really rubs me the wrong way, but Gawker was a gossipy blog site, did some good articles. I'm not going to throw them completely under the bus, but they published a sex tape of Hulk Hogan having sex with his friend's wife, Bubba the Love Sponge's wife. The tape is stolen out of Mr. Sponge's office, and it makes its way on the internet, and most places aren't going to publish it, because after the Tommy Lee and Pamela Anderson sex tape, the legal repercussions in civil suits are going to just go through the roof. You got to get permission at this point. Gawker decides they don't need permission, and they air Hogan's sex suit. Gawker also made a villain out of somebody named Peter Thiel. Now, do you know who Peter Thiel is, Paul?
That I don't know. I don't know who Peter Thiel is.
Peter Thiel was a Silicon Valley conservative. He was a closeted gay man, and I believe Gawker outs him. He's a private citizen. Gawker was also famous for doing this shit. This is at least how I remember this all going down. Peter Thiel has billions of dollars. So he hitches his money to Hulk Hogan's lawsuit against Gawker. He wants revenge. He wants to bankrupt and destroy Gawker. And with Hogan's lawsuit, he does. The First Amendment implications in this was pretty... What Gawker did was beyond the pale. They shouldn't have done it. They did so many weird and wrong-headed things. Like, they were infamous for outing conservative gay men.
Okay.
They were just doing that, and they're like, well, you know, they're contributing to, like, these political action committees. Like, it doesn't matter their ideology and what they're doing. They're still private citizens. That's where First Amendment comes in with... you can't do that to private citizens. Journalists can't do that. It's just...
Yep.
It's,
nope. You can't. No, you can't do that. Nope.
Public persons are a little more difficult. New York Times where Sullivan made that, where you're a public person, you're more, you're more susceptible to what's in the news and considered newsworthy. But so with that, if you're considered a public person, it's like intentional malice comes into play. So you have all these things going on. What happens is they bankrupt Gawker, put him out, and it creates this precedent where billionaires now could just sue news organizations out of existence. And that's what Hogan's sex tape brings to the table of today's journalism. It rubs me the wrong way. Gawker, I don't agree with what they did. They fucked up.
They
kept doubling down. They were like, during the Hogan trial, they kept pulling this shit like this. I'm like, I just remember following some of the bloggers on Twitter, and they'd be like, well, we should be able to report everything and anything we want without any repercussions. I'm like, that's not how this works. It's not. Yep. So that's like the Hogan thing really with that is just like, it opened the doors for, say, a Donald Trump who doesn't like reporters could just bankrupt a news organization just for bringing them to court in general. Yep. And just prolonging it. So, yeah, I'm not and then I've never seen the sex tape. I know you did.
Fuck you. I know. Don't
you messaged me. You're like, thank God it's only 30 minutes. I'm like, yeah, I'm not watching that. The last thing I need to see is a 60-year-old Hulk Hogan grunting on top of a
God damn it. No.
30-year-old woman.
I'll be honest. No, I never did. I've never.
Yeah.
No, I'll be.
What was that message about then, Paul?
God, okay, so I got
the receipts, Paul.
Yeah, no. Okay, first of all, I do got to tell you this story because it's hilarious. When you and I were talking that night, because I was confused about the whole sushi thing, honestly, because I didn't know that whole story. And so you and I are messaging each other at like 1 or 2 in the morning, and I fucking look this up and I find a tweet. And the tweet says, when Hulk Hogan talked about eating so much sushi that he feels too fat to fuck during the sex tape, I was like, yeah, brother, I've been there. I am dying at 1:30 in the morning. and then I'm texting this thing out to you. I woke up my house at 1:30 in the morning fucking laughing so hard, dude.
We have all been there, Paul.
God, and you and I are talking about the fact that you're like I didn't know strip clubs serve food, let alone buffets, and you're telling me, oh yeah, Hulk Hogan's at the strip club eating strip club sushi. I'm fucking dying.
Yeah. You don't eat the food at a strip club. And like you were like, strip clubs don't have. You told me like strip clubs don't have food.
I did,
and then I sent you the menu of the gentleman's club in Fargo here.
You did, and I'm dying. I am like wheezing. At, like
I'm too fat for that man's brother.
Dude, I'm going, how bad are you when you have to order mozzie sticks during the lap dance? You're telling the stripper, watch out for the marinara sauce. Don't knock that shit over. I mean, come on, priorities, people. Eat before you go. So that tells you, first of all, no, I've never seen this sex tape, and how often I go to fucking strip clubs because I didn't know they serve food.
Yeah, I don't.
But that's
I don't know, like, if the whole thing is. So it's a 30-minute video. Gawker published 2 minutes of it, including 10 seconds of explicit content.
I
which
think
is just like, that's just.
Yeah, I think.
Why would you do that? Why would you put your? You don't own the video.
That's the problem. That's right there. You don't own the video. That was what the whole thing was about, wasn't it?
They were just doing it to embarrass him.
Yep.
And that's just, and this, I think that's the same video where he starts dropping the N-bomb. I think that came out during the trial, maybe.
It came out. I see now. This is where the confusion comes in, because I think this is a Mandela effect. People seem to remember it happening on that video.
Different video.
I remember there was a separate video where he was talking with some people about his daughter and how he didn't want them dating black men, and it was a whole separate deal. Now I can't remember which one is which, because again, I think
it was a separate video, but it was another video leak. I think, yeah, that was just another video leak. Oh God! Then it comes to his family too. Holy shit, Paul! his son killed a guy.
His son killed a guy. Yeah.
Brooke Hogan. Did you ever watch the reality show that they had?
No.
I forget what it was called, like hanging out with the Hogans or whatever.
Hogan. No, Hogan knows
like
best, wasn't
push. It felt like it was just a giant push for her singing career.
For Brooke, yeah.
Yeah, she is just not a singer, man. She ain't a singer, brother.
Yeah, no. It was no, and I remember that I so shortly after like the divorce and shit, right? There was all this shit going on, and
he spirals out of control pretty fast.
It went really, really hard. It went really, really fast, and what happened was that they it was all scripted. And I remember reading an interview during the divorce, or like everything, about how, because they were trying to use things from the show during his divorce with his wife, and they had to bring in people, and his wife was like, they would tell us to fight. It's not real. Like, they would tell me, this is what you're going to say to him, and you're going to scream. And they actually like showed a clip for like evidence of her like screaming blah blah blah, and someone yelling cut, and her turning and going, is that what you needed? Like, or do we have to do it again? Like, this is what people don't understand about reality shows. So yeah. Yep. So
yeah,
this is really,
Hogan was part, like, just to sum it up, he was part of so Peter Thiel, he was paying money for all these lawsuits against Gawker, including Hogan's. He said his financial support of Hogan's case was one of my greater philanthropic things that I've ever done, which is just chilling. Again, it's, Gawker is just fuck, man.
Gawker was fucked. They fucked
it up for a lot of people, I think.
But the important thing about this whole Gawker thing is what opened the whole thing, because people in the industry for a long time despised Hulk Hogan, but he was untouchable. Much, and I hate to say it because it's not quite, it's not in the same level, but it's a similar situation. Take into effect like Cosby and some other people that they were, and like the Weinsteins, they were untouchable until they fuck up, and then everything opens up.
Yeah, and it was the Gawker thing didn't help, but then it was like we were saying, that other video where he drops the N-word, then the floodgates open. And wrestlers are starting to be like, okay, we can finally talk about how much of a fucking asshole this guy is. Because it was right at when that N-word video dropped, he was pulled from the WWE Hall of Fame. He was pulled from everything. Like, there was no mention of Hulk Hogan for a long time for WWE. And then you start seeing the woodwork coming out of these wrestlers, like popular ones, Undertaker, Shawn Michaels. Big names are just like, yeah, I don't like that guy. There's been guys around longer saying how much they hated him, but they're always usually like, you know, they weren't coming back to WWE.
Yes. So, along with all these people that hated him, came across all these lies that people were afraid to push out. And this is what I wanted to get to. So, one of the things is the list of lies that Hulk Hogan has told over the years, because it's gotten pretty incredible. And there is a gentleman called Alan Cheapshot. I'm going to give him a shout out, that back on Twitter, he posted a bunch of things. And I'm just going to go through some of them. According to Hulk Hogan, the wrestling director Darren Aronofsky offered him the lead role 3 times for the movie The Wrestler. Hulk Hogan claims he turned it down because he didn't deserve it. Darren categorically denies the fact that Hogan was ever even considered for the role. He claims that he was in high school, he was an all-state pitcher who was scouted by both the New York Yankees and the Cincinnati Reds, but an injury prevented him from signing with the team. If that sounds familiar, because that's fucking Macho Man Randy Savage's story very, very closely. There's another wrestler where Hulk Hogan said, I was the first one to notice this wrestler's potential. Well, I hate to brag about it, but I was the first one to point the finger at him when this guy had worked for over a decade in the industry. Starring in both Mr. Nanny and Santa with Muscles, Hogan claims that he rewrote both scripts entirely, only to have his writing credits stolen by the Writers Guild. He claims that he used to be a pride fighter in the 70s. Problem is, Pride Fighting Championships was founded in 1997. He claimed that he was the first person to body slam Andre the Giant, and that Andre the Giant died a few days after that slam. John Belushi, who died in 1982, apparently partied with Hulk Hogan after WrestleMania 2, which was in 1986.
Did you know that Lars Ulrich wanted him to play bass for Metallica? That's another one of his lies.
Yes, it is. It is. It's absolutely one of his lies that, yes, that Lars wanted him to do that. He tried to ruin Undertaker's career during a push, and this is something that will come up, where there was a early in Undertaker's career, Hogan was upset because he wanted to use his creative control to win against Taker, and they were like, no, you can't. And he claimed that Undertaker destroyed his neck in this move. And when you go back on the video, you'll see that actually Hogan was nowhere near the chair, never hit the ground, anything. But for a good 3-4 months, he was running around with like a neck brace saying that Undertaker fucking destroyed his neck because he didn't want his push.
Well, pointed it out, and he said, the way I slammed you, there's no way it would have hurt your neck. He's like, no, you squeezed my head too hard.
Yeah, and that's yes, exactly, Joe. Yep, he lied and was like, you squeezed my head too hard. Like, that's how you hurt me. It wasn't dropping. And Hulk Hogan claimed that he was asked to join the UFC back when it first started. It wasn't true. And you should know this one too. Mike Tyson's talked about this. Hogan was supposed to have a pay-per-view bout with Mike Tyson, but Hogan said that Tyson was too scared to do it. The truth was, WWF offered Tyson way more money than WCW could at the time. Hogan claims that he was supposed to get the endorsement for the George Foreman girl, not George Foreman, but he didn't get the offer because he was out picking up the kids from school. Could you imagine your dad being that petty and like making a lie about that and saying you're the reason why I didn't get the fucking George Foreman grill? He said that he used to wrestle 400 days in 1 year. There's a just throughout.
Well, that's because he was flying from Japan and back, Paul.
Yep. That's exactly what it was.
This weird math in his head that doesn't work.
Yeah, he said because he traveled so frequently between the United States and Japan that the time difference made the 400 days impossible. Are we talking the Marvin Barnes here? Are we in a fucking time machine?
This is some Donnie Darko level physics that I can't.
There's things I don't understand what's going on in the world. In Hulk Hogan's autobiography, he claimed that Elvis Presley was a huge fan of Hogan before he joined the WWF. However, Elvis died in 1977. Hogan claims that he when offered and turned down a Legends match in WrestleMania 22. It was supposed to be him and Greg Valentine. Nobody wanted that. If people forget, he ran for president. People forget Hogan did that. Leno asked Hogan about his platform, the Flat Tax Brother. Jay explained to him, asked him to explain it to the kids at home. Hogan said it's going to be 16%. Jay asked how he came up with that. He mumbled something about 16% being higher than 15%. He claimed that the reason why he didn't get more roles in Hollywood was because he turned down a gay producer. When there's a lot of claims between him and Vince McMahon throughout the years. That's another thing. There's just a whole bunch, but the big ones are the steroid scandal. There was a big lawsuit going on, and Hogan was at the Arsenio Hall show he went on, I believe it was, and he was straight out asked, "Did you do steroids?" No. While this trial is going on, and then he had to go and testify.
Hold on, Paul. He meant at the moment.
Yeah, he meant at the moment.
He didn't mean like a week ago. He meant like at the moment he wasn't on steroids.
Yeah.
See, their version goes din 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 din. It's not the same.
It's not the same. Well, needless to say, Hogan, yes, he was blackballed for a while. He's come back. He's gone. There's just so much.
You read it out, Jesse Ventura.
For the unionizing. Governor. Yes. Yeah.
Jesse wanted to unionize the wrestlers, something that is not a new topic. And have you watched the John Oliver thing on?
I have watched the John Oliver thing.
Yeah. So it's like this is an idea that I think would probably help because they're basically independent contractors.
They are. They are independent. Yeah, a lot of people don't know that. They're not employed. They are independent contractors.
So they don't like have health benefits or anything like that. And so but Jesse Ventura wanted to unionize, and it was like right before WrestleMania? Was it WrestleMania 2?
Yes. Yes.
Right. WrestleMania 2, and like Hogan rats him out. And he doesn't find out until the steroid scandal. I think, right. He's under deposition. And Vince basically let Jesse Ventura go until Jesse. So he didn't care. Like Ventura's like one of those guys. Like fuck, I don't give a shit. He goes and does Predator, and then they pretty much have to ask him back because now he's a big name.
Now he's a big name because he ain't got time to poop.
I know that's not a popular opinion amongst a lot of our friends and all that, but. I do. He's eccentric.
He's eccentric, and I can get behind eccentric.
He should never have been governor, but he was. No. He's a smart guy.
But the point is that there have been so many lies over the years with Hulk Hogan that there are pathological lies. And you guys can just easily there is just Google list of Hulk Hogan lies if you're ever interested in it. It is a fascinating rabbit hole to go down because it's absolutely bizarre. But one of the lies is going to culminate in this album. So according to Hulk Hogan, he said that in 1996, he was doing a European show with the WWF, and there was a boy that was supposed to be there from the European version of the Make-A-Wish Foundation, or the European wing of the the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and that when Hulk Hogan showed up to this show, his chair was empty, so he knew he was dead. So he contacted his friends and put together this charity album for that family. The problem, Hulk Hogan was not in the WWF in the summer of 1996. There was no European show.
He wasn't even in Europe at that time.
He wasn't even in Europe at that time, and there is no mention of anywhere of this family, of this kid, or that this is even a charity album. You look it up, it is considered a novelty album. There is nothing linking this album.
Yeah, that's probably the grossest lie he's ever told.
Is
that I'm aware of.
That I'm aware of.
Worse, but
yeah.
Like, why would you lie about something like that?
Again, it's Joe. You look at the list of lies; it's pathological. This guy, I mean, and it gets to a point where I start to think he believes these things. Like, it's become so much that he just believes those things. Yeah. But I agree with you. I think this is one of the most egregious lies, because the song Hulkster in Heaven or Hulkamaniac in Heaven is supposedly the song dedicated to this kid. Now, is it possible that Hogan just has the year wrong because there was European shows over there? Possibly, but I have to be honest with you. I've digged and I've seen videos about this album, and other people have digged. YouTubers and podcasters that are far more famous than us have dug, and no one can tell if this is real or not. And no one's ever come forward and been like, yeah, we got all the proceeds from this particular album. So, yeah. So we are doing that album. Joe, let's start with Hulkster's in the House, baby. Joe, what year did this album come out?
95, and it's a mix of butt rock. There's a Jimmy Buffett style country song on here. He raps. I don't know what the hell's going on, Paul. Hulkster's in the house. Hey, oh, come on, let's go, Paul.
I mean, I will give him credit. He was rapping before Macho Man Randy Savage. I've looked. All I know, the people that are really affiliated with this as a band, as like musicians, is Jimmy Hart and Hulk Hogan.
Who's singing?
Well, so Jimmy Hart sings on some of it. So my understanding is, from what I've been, because this is an enigma. This album is an absolute enigma. Is that basically Hulk Hogan got together with Jimmy Hart. Now, a lot of people don't know that Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart, who was a manager, known as a manager, as in wrestling, was the guy that was really writing all of the theme songs in the 80s that were not commissioned out, which we will talk about on this album because it's really funny.
Hogan's infamous song is Rick Derringer penned.
Yes, and another big song that people forget about that was big was Robert Dupree doing Girls in Cars for Strike Force. Those were the two big songs that hit radio play from wrestling at the time. But everything else was done with Jimmy Hart and this band that he had that would sit around in a studio and write music. So I really think that that's what this is. It's just Hulk Hogan with Jimmy Hart's band. Because when Jimmy Hart left WWF to go to WCW with Hulk Hogan, because Hulk Hogan took a bunch of his buddies with him, because they're basically getting to the point where Vince McMahon was saying, you guys are too old, blah, blah, blah. There was this weird thing. So they all kind of said, fuck you, we still want to wrestle. And WCW, they went, and they took a lot of these people with. So
WCW was starting to push the boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, leads right into the Attitude Era. It's hiring. They hire Stone Cold Steve Austin and shit like that. Like, arguably, probably my favorite era of wrestling is the Attitude Era.
Yeah, mine was the NWO. I was a big WCW NWO guy, and then until Vince Russo came in and ruined WCW, and then I went to WWF. But then by that point too, I was already starting to get out of it. Like, I think I really quit watching wrestling. I watched the final. I was already done watching wrestling by the time the final WCW Nitro came out, but I watched it that night. But basically, like, I quit watching wrestling when I was 19 because I was living in my car at that point. So I quit watching like a lot of things when I was living out of my car. So like that's about the time I got out of wrestling. But now with like the age of podcasts and things like that, I find myself going back and listening to like a lot of the behind the scenes stories from these things, like how these things were being booked and what was going on behind the scenes. And I got to tell you, it is fucking fascinating. There is just it's basically a bunch of fucking carnies, dude. Because that's what they were. They're all a bunch of fucking carnies, and they have these crazy, but they're famous carnies, and they're having all these crazy ass carny stories. Like fucking Jim Cornette fucking screaming at a fucking Wendy's lady because back in the fucking 80s or 90s, a $60 order from Dairy Queen was unheard of, and the lady thought it was a joke, so she wouldn't make their food. I mean, crazy shit like that.
But anyway, Hulkster's in the room.
Hulkster's in the room, Joe. I mean,
he's on the move. I can feel it in my feet. We're moving to the beat, Paul.
This is the production value on this is trash.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the rip because it's not streaming anywhere. I had to listen to a rip on YouTube, but I don't think.
Yep, it's not streaming anywhere. I've looked for a long time. There's no reissues. There's no anything. But even then, even though it's not great, it's bad. Chorus, yeah. Joe, there's not much to say here other than if you mess with the Hulkster, he'll rearrange your teeth. Really, really weird. I mean, really, 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 really weird stuff here. In terms of like the lyrics, like, sick guitars. I love the sick guitar solos on the fucking lyric sheet.
Yeah. You got to have a sick guitar solo, Paul. It's just the rule,
Yeah. I picked a doozy with this one, didn't I?
And now we got American Made, Paul.
Okay.
Red, white, and blue running through
red, white, and blue, baby.
Born and raised in the U.S. of A. I was like listening to this, and I was like, how is this not Trump's campaign?
Well, first of all,
how is this not anybody's campaign song for running for office? It's like the most like in your face patriot. It's like, you better salute that flag, brother, or I'll kick your ass.
Because Bruce Springsteen wrote fucking Born in the USA in the 80s and no one knows what that song means. Yeah. First of all, is this not the most Rick Derringer ripoff song of all time? Because this is the WCW thing. When Hogan came in, this is what he had to use because WWF owned there's a whole thing there, but Rick Derringer basically he was working with the WWF to write some songs. Hogan's wasn't the only one. Rick Derringer was a wrestling fan, just like everyone else that's ever done a deal with Vince McMahon. He got fucked over, took his ball and went home and said, fuck you guys. And didn't want anything to do with it again. So Jimmy Hart wrote this for his WCW before he went to NWO. And it is like Rick Derringer could sue over this song.
Well, Paul, he's government inspected. He's U.S. grade. You mess with the flag, it's like a slap in his face.
He's American made.
America.
America. Fuck yeah. Coming to tell us of the motherfucker day. Yeah, he's got stars and stripes running through his veins. He's born and raised the American way now.
I hate you so much, Paul.
I know.
Make me listen to this.
I know. But dude, Hulkster's back.
Oh, where he raps? Oh my God, check out the pump, brother. Wanna Nana? What's up, dude?
I was born, I was bred, I was country fed. I got a crazy idea running through my head. Yeah, dude.
I know it is quite possibly the worst thing I've ever heard in my life.
It is really bad. You check out these pythons, baby. Would you look at that? Check out these pythons, baby. The Hulkster is back on the juice.
Oh, God. Oh. Oh.
If you could tell, we had to really pad out this album with Hulkster. God, I'm dying over here. I'm laughing so fucking hard. Oh my God, I got tears, Joe.
Wrestling Boot Traveling Mad. Now, this is a song I think Jimmy Hart wrote that was never intended to be on this album. Because it feels like a yacht rock album, or yacht rock song. And I think he had to change the lyrics just so it had something to do with Hulk Hogan.
Well, first of all, the album's only 30 minutes, so technically it really should be an EP. It's not even
an album, brother.
It's an album, brother. But
it's
yeah,
like, it was like Weezer's Green album. It's like, even though it's like 29 minutes, it's an album, brother.
I think that he probably went to Hogan like, hey, I want to try. I think he thought maybe because it was Hulk Hogan that this would get some traction. So I think he because I will say this. Hogan's been really like fucking what's his name? Brutus the Barber Beefcake. Hogan has been he's really, really faithful. So I wonder if Jimmy Hart just asked, like, hey, could I throw a song on? He was like, I don't give a fuck, but whatever you want on the fucking thing.
Not be rapping on it, brother.
I'm gonna be rapping on it, brother.
But then, you never know with Hogan, because as we've discussed, I changed my mind, brother. Can you imagine him? Change my mind, brother. We're gonna put a rap in the middle of this.
That doesn't work for me, brother. Creative control.
For me, brother. We're gonna put the rap right in the middle after you're laid on the beach and get a tan. I'm gonna come in and get jiggy with it, brother.
Then we get Jimmy Hart singing another song.
Jimmy Hart singing the Wrestling Boot Traveling Band? Because I feel like that was him.
Yes, that was Jimmy Hart.
Because, again, this felt like an actual song that he wrote that, he was working on, and then, I better put it on here, otherwise it's never going to get released.
Yeah, I think so.
It actually feels like a real song,
Yeah, I do. I believe so.
It's like the Wrestling Boot Traveling Band is like one of those, it's like, amidst of all this bullshit, it's like, it's not good. In fact, it's pretty bad, but it still feels like an actual song. Right.
No, and I do. Yeah. Jimmy Hart wrote all these songs basically. So speaking of not writing, we get Bad to the Bone.
It's not even a cover of the song Bad to the Bone.
No,
it's a bad ripoff of the song Bad to the Bone, also titled Bad to the Bone.
Which has lyrics from Born to Be Wild, which is weird. Come
on, baby, we're going for a ride. Put your arms around me and hold on tight. Turn up the music because we're going to hear it loud. Girls, all know it's a boys' night out.
Because we're bad.
Okay, so let's look at it. So who's putting his arms around his waist, then? If this is a boys' night out.
I'm going to guess again, Bruce the Barber Beefcake. Okay. Bubba the Love Sponge. Yeah, head out on the highway, baby. Let that Harley rip and roar. Hammer down the throttle. Give that baby some more. Turn up the volume because we like to rock and roll. The girls all know that we're out of control. So what's interesting about this song was actually recycled, and lyrics were taken out to be used for two other wrestlers' theme songs, which was Brian Pillman and one Chris Jericho. So, yep, they reused it. Next, Joe, I want to be a Hulkamaniac, have fun with my family and friends.
Oh my God, this is a
doozy.
So it has this weird, again, this is 95. This song sounds like a mix of a rap song with She Blinded Me with Science. Yes. It's it starts like a weird 80s quirk song.
Mm-hmm.
And then he starts rapping and it just made me want to take a shit.
Well, if you want to be a Hulkamaniac, I can sure tell you how to stay on track. You got to train, say your prayers, eat your vitamins too. Those are the things the maniacs do.
Maybe that's all the
Positive
Hulkster got in heaven.
Yeah.
That was a bad song, Paul. It was a bad song in a sea of terrible shit.
It was a bad
There is no
song.
lifeline on this album. There's nothing for, like, the only thing I can grasp onto that, like, maybe has a little redeeming quality if it was worked is the Wrestling Boot Traveling Band song.
Yeah. I mean, it's not good. It's not. I mean, again, it's a novelty slash.
Who was this for?
Cherry. I don't know.
What was this album's purpose?
I don't know. I don't, Joe. I really wish I knew. I wish I could tell you. I don't know. Because I mean, this is so. It's such a ramshackle of an album. Like there's nothing coherent. There's nothing great. There's nothing done.
Nothing really funny on it too to make it like a fun novelty album. It's just bad.
No. It's brain breaking because when you look at an album, even albums like bad albums we've done, right? There's some kind of thread or something. This really has no rhyme, reason. There's no track listing, like sequencing. They all feel like they've been recorded at different points in different times.
Yeah.
Like
That's
in the
another thing. Like it was just,
yeah, it's like it was just a bunch of yeah. So I don't know who this was for, but we got a beach patrol. I was walking down the beach looking for some action, had my radio set on a rap station, saw a girl in trouble, a sticky situation. She wanted me to give her mouth-to-mouth resuscitation.
beach patrol, Paul. We want to party.
Jesus Christ.
And he's rapping, and there's record scratches, and I just,
Two Live Crew, you are not, sir. Yeah, then we get Hulkster.
Wait, hold on. They also yell "Whoop! There it is!" on this, which is
yes, they do. They do yell "Whoop!" there and pump it up, pump up the bass. Let's not forget that. Whoop! There it is.
The one.
Yep. Well, hang on. I got to say these lyrics first. Whoop! There it is. Check it out. Check it in. You'll be 6 feet deep if you touch my girlfriend. So you're rhyming in with friend. You know this homeboy could lose control. You don't mess with the beach patrol. All right, go on. Now we got Hulkster one.
And it starts off sounding almost just like a bad ripoff of "Don't You Forget About Me" by Simple Minds.
Yes, it does.
They say your heart is made out of stone. You've got me hanging by a string. My friends all tell me you're bad to the bone. Please be bad to me, Paul.
Yeah. Well, you're the one, you're the man, you're the only one. Hulk's the only one for me. Hulk's the man, he's the man, the only one. Hulk's the only one for me. You got me hooked on that very first look. You had me down on my knees. You turned on the charm. I heard the alarm. I should have called the police. Joe. Oh my God. Oh my God.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, let's get to the ballad that he sings. I'm pretty sure this is Hogan singing.
It is Hogan singing. And I will give something here. Okay. And this is all I'm going to say about this. If this was not a terribly produced with a Casio fucking keyboard.
Based on a lie premise.
There is a crooner, like if you gave him some kind of lounge song and really did some things with the voice, you could do that.
Don't.
Yeah.
No.
Now, I gotta
stop.
correct this.
Not since you recommended That fucking, I can't even remember that shitty band that we listened to a while back.
Don't
Porch
even
Radio.
Don't worry about Porch.
I'm just cutting you off right now. Nope. There's no redeeming this song, Paul.
No,
There's
no,
what ifs,
no.
hypotheticals
I'm
that's
not
going to save this song.
Oh my god, I'm dying. My god,
I have to rein you in, man, because you're trying to, I don't know, you're trying not to hurt Hulk Hogan's feelings here. Like,
I don't want to get cut off.
That kid, Hulker. Like, no, it is. He should be ashamed of that song.
Oh my god. I'm seeing spots. I'm laughing so hard. Fuck. I catch my breath, man.
Oh.
All right. First of all, I gotta correct.
Because, you know, I used to wear my shirt, but your opinions now just tore my heart, Paul. God. Oh, sorry. I'm broken. My stomach hurts so fucking bad over here, Joe. Yeah, well, maybe your stomach won't hurt when the Hulkster comes to heaven. So he can tag. You guys are getting a tag match, Paul.
This is so. Oh, okay. I got to correct the story because I told the story wrong. It was 1992, not 1996, and the Hogan was not there. It was Davey Boy Smith and Bret Hart that was there. So again, there are people who give credence that it was, but I want to make it clear. I got the years wrong. I want to tell the story right. It was 1992, not 1996. Oh God.
What's the matter? He's fucking lying. Anyway. God damn Jesus Christ.
I just got under control, you fucker.
It's a song based on a lie, and you're trying to correct the year the lie happened? Like, the fuck is wrong with you?
Oh my
God damn it.
Oh my God. So, all right. God fucker, let me breathe. So I was gonna say yes, there's no redeeming the song. However,
there is no however. You just stop. I'm cutting you off.
God damn it, don't cut me off. My point is, Hogan does have a lounge sound that he could have done, like, if it was a human thing.
Yes, if we're stopping this.
No, there was a human
I'm like Elvis Costello on Saturday Night Live. No, we're not doing this. Let's jump into radio, damn it.
Oh, my God.
All right.
Fuck me. Oh my God. Okay.
Now we're moving on because I'm not letting you circle back to that. We're going to Hulk.
No, we're not. We got Hulk earlier.
See, when he steps in the ring, he's ready for a fight.
Oh my God, I'm fucking dying. No, stop. Okay.
If you mess with the Hulkster, he'll rearrange your teeth, brother. See, we're on Hulk rules now, Paul. We've moved on.
Wait, no, stop.
No, I'm not letting you. There's no, Paul.
Ow! Holy fuck. I just gotta say these lyrics. If I move on, I'm done. When I climb back in the ring, I know we'll win this fight. I wish you were here at ringside to cheer me on tonight. The spotlight now grows dim, and now it's not on me. The prayers we've said together are still our guarantee.
Okay, so Paul, his tribute to this kid
it's
still all about him.
It's all about him.
So this kid's version of heaven, the kid's not wrestling with Hogan. This kid's version of heaven, he's watching Hulk Hogan wrestle.
Oh my God. Oh my God, Joe. Yes, it's the most narcissistic about me song about a dead kid ever. It's horrible.
That never existed.
That kid that never existed. I read it on the papers. I saw it on TV. I guess there'll be one empty seat when I wrestle at Wembley. I used to tear my shirt, but now you've torn my heart. I've known you were a Hulkamaniac right from the very start.
See, he should have ended the album with this song because it could have been a day in the life of this Sergeant Pepper of shit.
Oh my God! Wow. Yeah. This is
brother, I read the news today. Brother,
this is his day in the life.
Hulkamania went up to heaven, brother.
Oh my God. Oh my God, Joe. Yeah, no, this is like if anyone ever writes a song about me when I die, don't make it about you, you fuckface. Could you imagine playing this at, like, if this was real and this was played at the kid's funeral? If I was his parents, I'd be pissed.
I would be laughing so hard if I said that.
Joe, this is okay. Real lyrics, guys. The world just lost another Hulkamaniac, a friend to the end. I'll see you again. I wish Hulk's love could bring you back again. You were my friend, and I'll see you again. Holy fuck.
Yeah, it's his version of Tears in Heaven, Paul.
Oh,
you know, I guess maybe it could have been saved if he had the old acoustic guitar like Eric Clapton.
Could you imagine? Like, you were Clapton.
I'm back in the ring. I know we'll win this fight. All right.
Oh my God. Oh my God, that's amazing. Whoo, Joe. Okay, yes, we're on the finish line here,
trying
buddy.
to say it's savable as a lounge song.
No, I'm not saying it's savable as a lounge song. I'm not saying the song is salvageable. I'm saying Hulk.
His voice isn't salvageable, Paul.
Okay,
He's a bad
fine.
singer.
It's dropped. God damn it, it's dropped. Just step in the ring. Let's get ready for the fights. He's calling for his pythons. I'm loaded up tonight.
All right, people. We're talking about the song Hulk Rules. Paul just jumped right into it without announcing it.
I'm broken, motherfucker. God, guys.
God damn it, Paul. Get
This album
together, Paul.
All right. Whew, yes, we
Whoa,
are on.
whoa.
We are on the Hulk. Whoa, Hulkster rules. Whoa, Hulkster rules.
Man, imagine the Misfits covering this.
Oh my God.
If you ever get in trouble with a helping hand, I'll be your friend.
Stand up for your freedom. Stand up for your rights. You'll know. They don't even know what he says. Whatever, there's a fight. Yeah, Hulkster rules. Whoa, Hulkster rules.
Oh God, this
God
is a bad album, Paul.
Joe, this
He'll rearrange your teeth if you mess with him.
Yeah, and he's a babyface at this point. Let's keep that in mind. Who, Joe? That was that was Hulkster in Heaven. Now, here's the problem, guys.
That wasn't Hulkster in Heaven. That was Hulk Rules, brother.
That was Hulk Rules, brother. That was Hulk
Rules. You need to get Hulkster in Heaven out of your brain.
I do. Well, it's such a good lounge song.
Fucking that. He can be a lounge singer. My ass, Paul. God, get it together, brother.
I just don't.
You're talking like you just ate a bunch of sushi at a strip club.
Oh my God.
He gave you goof brain.
God damn, dude! I tell you what, I mean, so much sushi, I feel too fat. The fuck right now, Joe. Okay, I gotta dissect that for a minute before we get to this. How much sushi? First of all, I've never eaten enough sushi where I felt fat. I've never felt fat enough, too fat to fuck.
It's
so
pretty lean. Cause fish is a pretty lean. I don't eat sushi because I'm not a big seafood person, but it doesn't seem like there's a lot of, it's not like a giant steak or a burger, it's pretty much just raw fish and what is like seaweed and rice and shit like that.
Yeah, yes.
How do you get fat off that?
Yeah, it's okay. So I do.
I guess maybe the strip club seaweed. Maybe they deep fry it or something. I don't know.
Oh my God.
I'm pretty fat from that seafood.
Okay,
sushi.
Let me tell you. Okay. Fucking dead. Fuck, I gotta get together, man.
Shit together, Paul. Fuck.
We'll be in the blast zone.
Paul, you've been in the blast zone ever since Hulkster in heaven.
me and Gilbert, buddy. What
I
are you
had
doing?
to step in, man. Like, I got tagged in to put you in the blast zone.
What are you gonna do with Gilmer and the Hulkster run wild on you, brother?
Oh, you're sitting there trying to say Hulk Hogan could be a lounge singer. I was Shawn Michaels and you were Marty Jannetty in the barbershop.
Right through the glass fucking window.
You got some sweet chin music, brother.
Oh my god. Oh guys, okay, I apologize for this episode, guys. We are off the fucking rail. Back to this. Okay, so sushi. All right, sushi.
You think it was bacon wrapped sushi? Maybe. But I don't think I trust bacon from a strip
It was
club.
Crisco. It was Crisco covered fucking sushi. Oh my god. So my son is a huge sushi dude, because I used to work in Minneapolis and like there's just so much food there, and so I took him to get sushi and he like just fell in love with it. I believe it's impossible to ever get full on sushi. All it is fish, seaweed, a little bit of rice, and maybe some fucking like carrots and cucumbers or something. Like, I mean, there is like some crazy one, and like there's some really crazy type sushi, but again, if you're at a strip club, you're not getting that. You're getting
Paul,
like
I wouldn't trust fried fish at a strip club. Like, I don't think I trust any food at a strip club, let alone raw fish.
oh my god, yeah. You don't eat raw fish at a fucking strip club, man.
Maybe maybe it wasn't at the strip club. Maybe they stopped at a sushi place on the way back from the strip club.
They stopped at a sizzler.
Which would be even stranger. Yeah.
Let's go get some Golden Corral
We're
sushi.
looking at those are some fine boobs we're looking at. Let's get some sushi.
God damn it, man. Fuck my life.
There's no way the story just...
It doesn't make any sense.
It's even stranger if they stop for sushi.
Or maybe they stopped before they went because they didn't want to pay.
Oh, you don't want
club
to be bloated at a strip
prices.
club.
You don't want the Mozzie sticks getting fucking spilt on your lap.
Oh, you don't want to be bloated at the strip club. You don't want to be, feeling fat there.
Oh my god, buddy. Fuck my life. Oh, so normally we would do an aftermath. Problem is, no one reviewed this album but us.
We went on quite an adventure, brother.
We're the cream of the crop. Ooh, yeah. Oh my god.
Oh.
Joe. No.
Yes, Paul.
Joe. Would you recommend this album?
Would I recommend this album? I would recommend it as much as I'd recommend eating sushi at a strip club. No.
Yeah. I recommend it as about as much I recommend fucking Bubba the Love Sponge's wife on camera.
I mean, she's a nice looking lady, but I don't think
she was.
I feel pretty weird about having sex with my best friend's wife.
I can't say that's on my fucking list of things that I think are imperative in my life fucking schedule. Oh, yeah. Fuck.
Yeah, I don't know, brother. I think that would just be a weird thing to do.
Oh my god. Maybe it was the sushi. They just weren't thinking right.
Oh.
I don't know.
I don't think I'd recommend this album.
I don't know. This could be the sushi talking, but do you want to fuck my wife?
I don't feel a little fat, brother.
We did eat a lot of sushi. That's a lot of soy sauce going through the veins.
Okay.
Brother.
So one, a normal person amount of sushi, how much would that be to make them feel fat? I'd imagine a lot.
A lot. It
Now
would be
you
a
have
lot.
somebody like Hulk Hogan, who's like big and muscular, can probably eat a lot of food.
Yes.
How
Yes.
much is too much sushi for him?
Hulk Hogan. And like,
brother.
and like, now, they always bloated people's fucking weight, but I think at one point they said Hogan weighed in at like 280 some pounds. Okay, I weigh 190. I have never gotten full off of sushi, man. How was
we
it,
didn't
guys?
say full. We said feeling fat.
Oh my god. How many times I need to go to a sushi bar? Like I need to just fly to Japan and just be a fly on the wall, and I need to record how many times a Japanese person says, "Oh God, I feel so fat after that sushi. I need some sake." Joe. Yeah, this album was a disaster. Nobody reviewed it. Nobody even knows about it, except for us.
Oh God!
Because
we're
we're
got
amazing.
the Gawker stuff all right. Because I don't want to get sued by Hulk Hogan.
You don't want to get sued like Pat
But here's the
McAfee
thing:
getting sued by Brett Favre.
overall, Hulk Hogan, I think, was in the right for that. I mean, I don't like how they sue news organizations, but you don't get to just put that shit out there without his permission, brother.
Oh my
Especially
God.
after he's all, it's not flattering. He's all fat from sushi and shit.
Oh my God.
You think he was gassy too?
Oh God. Could you imagine like sushi farts trying to Hulk Hogan having the sushi farts while you're on camera trying to fuck your best friends? Like this just gets worse and like fucking sushi breath. Oh my God.
Oh man, he's got the sushi farts as he's pumping away.
Oh my God.
Sorry.
Sorry. That's the soy sauce and the wasabi, brother. Oh my God. Okay, I'm gonna end it with this. Oh my God. My stomach hurts so bad.
Lay off the sushi, bro.
God damn. Joe, I'm trying to catch my breath over here and I'm fucking dying. I said to you, this is why I would never fuck Hulk Hogan, because I felt like this would be the conversation. Picture him missionary. Oh yeah, you like that, brother? Yeah, what you gonna do when Hulkamania is inside of you? Yeah, you take that Hulkamania. You take it. Are you a Hulkamaniac? Are you? Like it would just be the weirdest thing. We'd be calling like your brother during it, and oh my God, Joe.
Listen to your brother.
Come here, brother. I'm gonna put you in the pile driver, brother. Joe, do you got plugs?
No.
You know who also doesn't have plugs? Hulk Hogan, because he's a bald son of a bitch.
Well, at least he just didn't accept it. There's people who just
He didn't accept it. He wore a skullet. He still does. He didn't accept shit.
he never wore a toupee, man. He just embraced his weird look, man. All the power to him.
God. Joe, I don't have plugs either. What are we doing next week, Joe?
What are we doing? Oh God, we're doing some butt rock.
It can't get any worse than this. Go on.
No. I had other choices, but my first choice is the album's nowhere to be found anymore, and the physical copy is $80, and that is Chris Gaines' greatest hits. If you
Oh my God, yes.
Garth Brooks' alter ego, nowhere to be found. You can't find it, so we'll have to wait on that one until it's
okay, brother.
Again. So, it's time. We're staying in the 80s, brother. We're going to do some 80s butt rock, right? We're going to be shouting at the devil, Paul, with Motley Crue.
Oh, we should. fuck. Okay. Oh, god damn it. All right. Dude, I just turned into the dude. I fucking hate the Crew. Oh, I fucking hate Motley Crue.
Yeah, too bad, brother. You're gonna be feeling fat from that sushi.
Oh my god. God. Which one is it? Shout at the devil?
Shout at the devil, Paul.
All right. Now, Joe, I gotta ask before we get out of here. Is Hulk Rules the worst album we've done?
No, that's still Lindsey Buckingham.
Let it go, dude. Dude, it's not worse than this. Lindsey Buckingham is not worse than dude. Leave poor Lindsey alone. He doesn't get a talk on Saturday Night Live. You leave him alone. No, this beat Pat Boone. This beat Pat Boone. There is no redeeming. I mean, even as a funny album, there is no redeeming this album. There's nothing good on it. The production is terrible. I think even if it wasn't a rip. So yeah. It's this is the worst album we've ever done. Hands down. So well, for me it is.
Well, like Motley Crue, so that might be your worst album we've done.
I think
I don't
you know
mind
what?
Motley Crue. So.
You know what? This might be a level above Saint Anger. Honestly, this might be a level above Saint Anger.
Like if drums sounded like drums.
Yeah, I would say like if you put Saint Anger and this in front of me, I would play this. I will give Hulkster that because it's only a half hour, and I don't have those drums. So yeah,
listen to Hulkster in heaven.
Oh my god!
Try to justify it. It's not that bad. You son of a bitch.
Oh my god! All right, Joe. Do you have anything else to say about this?
Well, say your prayers, eat your vitamins, and stay away from the strip club sushi, brother.
Oh my god. Joe, do you want to take us out?
No.
Did we love you? Did we hate you? Do you even care? Yes, you did. We're the best damn review team out there. How did we rate your album?